just have to take a quick minute to thank our sponsors, Yellow Dog Paddle, Eddie Mackin's Rip and Lips Fishing Trips, Expeditions Fly Fishing LLC, NJFishing.com. Also, all of our supporters, Mike K's Guide Service, Psycho Jigs, Lip Glue, Signal 11, Nor'easter Hardcore Apparel, FC Fish Company. Expeditions Fly Fishing and Joey X, brand new business up in the Catskills, New York. Drift boat trips in the West Branch of the Delaware River. Absolutely amazing scenery, beautiful dry fly hatches and wet flies. Joey also will cater to wading trips on the Beaverkill and Willowemac. So call Expeditions Fly Fishing today to book your Catskill fly fishing trip. Eddie Mackin's Rip and Lips Fishing Trips has been on fire the past 3 days. Eddie has boated 37 walleye. The fishing's been absolutely lights out. Now is the time to call Eddie Mackin if you want to get a walleye. He's also offering the red-eye trips. If you're alone, he'll partner you with another angler. And also the pontoon boats are still available. Call Eddie Mackin's Rip and Lips Fishing Trips today. Hello and welcome to episode number 101 of the NJ Multi-Species Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Santiago. As always, my partner is back, Chris Pereira.
Why you said as always? You literally just did the last episode without me.
That's true.
As usually.
Deuce isn't going to let us redo it, though. So, yeah, we are both back.
I had some internet issues, and we tried to use a different program to do this whole thing, and it was just basically a giant shit show. And
I'm noticing that skateboard there behind you. I'm curious where you got that from.
Yeah, you like that?
Because you didn't want one of those, but I did, and now I don't have one.
Yeah, see, what's funny is Old School Outdoors sent it to me, and so I like it now. I hung it on my wall.
All right. Well, Max, if you're watching this, yours now belongs back to me because that's it. You're done.
Didn't he win that at? Oh no.
No, John Dorn won it.
John Dorn won it, and Max bartered with him, traded him one of his prizes for that prize,
like a piece of his mustache.
And then you tried to barter it from him, but he wouldn't give it up. And then I said, Joe, don't worry. He said he's making 2. He'll send you the other one. And he sent it to me, and there it is on my wall.
Yeah, there it is. I don't have it.
Old School Outdoors. It's really cool.
Old School Outdoors shout out. Yeah, it is really cool. Episode 100. Everyone's emailing us. Why is it missing? Why isn't it there? It does exist. It's not posted yet. We had internet issues, and but episode 100 will be posted. Kind of a special event for us a little bit. So, yeah, it's a secret. It's not coming out yet. Fishing-wise, I mostly just did trout fishing with my kids. Bounced around the Ramapo River area. And the kids actually caught fish. My daughter caught, like, one of her first ones ever by herself. You know, where she actually, like, casted it and, like, jigged it in. And she, like, ran over to me like, Dad, I jigged it, hit it while I was jigging it. Like, she knew what jigging was. So that was cool.
Was she right, though? Like, was her terminology accurate?
Yeah, she was doing the bobber thing. Just, just jigging the bobber, and boom, went down. And then I hooked one and was able to let my son reel it in. So, yeah, they love that. The kids love the stocked trout stuff.
That's cool, dude. I mean, look, dude, guys like to make fun of it or bust balls, whatever you want to call it. Like, it's fun. It's still fun. I'll go out there and do it. If I don't have a lot of time and I know where they stock it, I'll go catch some. I mean, what's the big deal?
Well, one thing I definitely can say, I always said to myself, "Oh, I don't understand why they put the trout in these ponds. They belong in the river. They're just wasted in the pond." Now I kind of get it. Like when I have kids, I could just drive like 10 minutes away to the lake, small lake, and they stock it with trout, and the kids can catch some fish. They have an actual pretty good chance of catching them. So it actually is pretty cool now from a different perspective. I guess things change as you get older, but yeah. So now I like the ponds. I still think they put too many big ones in though.
Um,
Like they put so many big, gigantic fish into these ridiculous little park ponds, and then like I feel like the rivers don't get as many big ones. I don't know if you agree with that.
well, I mean, obviously, if they're using them in the pond, they can't also. There's a finite amount of bigger fish. Um, but you put them in a river, they could go anywhere. You put them in the pond, you bring your kids there, there's a chance. It's not like you go in a river. Yeah, you don't know. You can't really guarantee a chance at
I
a big
I
one.
I feel like more often you see a picture of a gigantic broad stock from like a pond than the
You call it
river.
a broad stock?
Why? What do you call it? Brood stock?
I hope so because that's what I've been saying this whole time.
Mm, here we go. Another vocabulary challenge. This is the last episode of the podcast before NJ Multi-Species Mayhem Fishing League goes live. Goes live May 1st, so I guess the night before at midnight is when it starts. And you'll
I
probably
mean,
have
I would
at least
say, yeah, 12:01 of that's when it becomes that
so you'll
day, right?
most likely have some maniac like Kevin that will start catfishing at 12:01. Probably have Tim Brennan with him. And I was thinking about this to myself because like there's a lot of like little private, not private, but like little park ponds around my house. They're stocked with catfish. There's a lot of carp spots. It's all stuff that I don't usually pay attention to, or I don't go there. But now with this contest, I'm probably gonna be going there. Like I'm gonna be looking for a bullhead, gonna be looking for a carp, channel cat, and it's actually gonna be fun as hell to take my kids now with me to go after all these different fish. So that it's gonna be cool.
Now,
And
if your kid
I'm a
catches it, you can't turn it in.
no, but I mean, if I go down now to this catfish pond, I'm gonna be fishing. At least they could come, and they'll be fishing too. So it's going to cause me to get an addiction and go after all this shit that I normally wouldn't do, which is just cool.
It's it's kind of always what the skillful angler was meant to be. I felt like with the different challenges and stuff.
The
You know,
biggest difference to me though is like the skillful angler, you have to meet that um, limited length to get in there. This is a little different because you possibly could get lucky and like maybe no one else catches one and you got the biggest one and you win. Uh, it could go that way, or you sneak one into third place. Like that
yeah.
can
Well, Kevin's not giving out skillful angler. Not that it's a major prize; it's just a patch or whatever and a piece of paper, like everyone likes to bust balls on. But they give if you meet the criteria, whatever species it is, you get the patch and the paper recognition, whatever. Um, which I mean, and that's what guys like to bust balls on. Like that. That's I don't know. I don't know about you, but that's not why I'm doing it. Like I'm
no,
doing it
but
to try to win the category.
yeah. Well, what I'm saying is you might have a fish that doesn't meet that skillful angler length criteria, but it might sneak into third place in this, which gives you 1 point. And, that 1 point could be crucial at the end to flipping between second and first or third and second, fourth
Sure.
and third. It's
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah,
Uh,
and the way I like to describe it is when you have a contest that's just for one species or even like the contest that Eddie did last year, where it was multiple species, but each one was individual. I mean, like I won the pike category. I only went pike fishing a couple of times. I got lucky. I caught the biggest one. I won. It was luck. Like I'll admit it. And then one would have to admit it. If they don't, they're lying to themselves. There's a lot of luck involved in catching that one biggest fish. When you add all the species on the table and you put a point system, you obviously there's still an aspect of luck, but you've eliminated a lot of that luck, because now you have to be lucky over and over and over again. And if you're lucky over and over and over and over again and consistently, I mean, at what point does it become not luck anymore? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, and kind of like you made the point on, if people want to have stuff like this, which to me it seems like it's going to be pretty fun. If you want to have stuff like this, you need participation. So, I mean, you really do. That's what you need the most, is participation. Everyone kind of sits around and says, "Oh, there's nothing good to do, and no one's doing anything." But then when you finally do it, they don't get involved anyway. So that's a deterrent.
Yeah, and I mean, this was rushed. Obviously, it would have been nice if it was. Sorry, it would have been nice if it was done earlier on, and you know, specific prizes could have been. I can guarantee you right now, anyone who's still on the fence, when this comes out, I guess will you still have? You'll still have time to join.
And also, on that note, Mike K just donated a really nice combo rod and reel. That's going to be a wheel spin April 28th. So anyone who enters is going to be in the raffle to win that combo, just for the $25 alone. And also, Steve from Lip Glue just donated a bunch of bottles of lip glue for that same raffle. So just for the $25 entry, you're in the raffle for the rod and reel combo and the lip glue.
Remind me before you get the guest in, or after the guest comes. I got to talk about lip glue, because it's been ridiculous lately. But
I agree.
Real quick, what I was going to say is, if you're on the fence about joining, and just like these two prizes are added in as for the for a raffle for people who are entered, if that's not incentive enough not to wait till the last minute. Also, like, joining, when people see other people joining, they then join. It's like it's a exponential effect, I guess.
Well, like I asked John, grab a granny. John, why don't you enter? Come on. Oh, I don't measure fish. All right. Well, you don't measure fish. That's fine. Now you're just, John, buy a $25 raffle ticket to win the fishing rod. There you go. Blackmail. Done.
Well, dude, and let me just tell you, like, we can't specifically say, oh, we're going to have this prize, we're going to have that prize, or whatever. But I mean, if you look at anything else that we've ever done, I mean, yeah, the Christmas party is for a donation for like worthy causes. So we're not going to it's not going to be prizes like that many prizes, but people are going to donate stuff. Like, there's going to be prizes. There's going to be we've already had an anonymous donation, $100 towards the pot. A couple of companies bought advertisement space on the stuff that all goes into the pot. I mean, we didn't Kevin didn't start this early enough for us to help him get enough stuff quick enough to advertise it. But I think it's safe to say we're going to have plenty of prizes and stuff, and there's going to be stuff available to win, and it's definitely going to be worth the $25, even if you don't think you can catch enough species big enough size to win the whole thing.
No, and he's also going to give 25 individual awards to the biggest of each one, which obviously it's not going to be something spectacular, because that wouldn't be possible, but it'll be something.
And to piggyback onto that, next year it might be possible to have a medium-sized pot for each category. It all depends on how many people participate and what the whole pot is at the end, right? It all depends on that. So
The thing that
again,
worries me most, honestly, is, I mean, I fully understand it, obviously, because I'm on the inside of it. I think some people on the fence kind of don't maybe fully understand it. I know there's people that are just waiting to come in last minute. It's already it's at 30 people. It's at more than we thought it was going to be at already. Um,
I
but
told him he
the
told him he'd
one
get lucky
major,
to get 10.
yeah, I guessed 15 to 20 at a maximum. He's at 30 already, which is just awesome. And a couple of them are some serious multi-species heavy hitters in there too. They're not joking around. Um, Even the RVTA is starting to get involved now. A couple of them guys just came in and made a donation. But the major point I want to get across is once this thing starts, it's locked. Like you can't enter.
Yeah.
And this isn't going to start again until sometime next year. So I know a lot of people are going to see the post and be like, "Oh, how do I get in this?" You can't. Like this is it, guys. You
Yeah.
either sign up for this by Wednesday night at midnight, or you're out for the year. I can't make it any more clear.
Yeah, and I mean, it's run through an app now just to keep it fair, so that kind of the app just controls. It shows like a rough GPS location, so nobody's fishing out of state, nobody's fishing in a private place and stuff like that.
It doesn't give away your pinpoint location, and
Yeah,
that information is only shared with Kevin, who is the director.
and I mean, another thing I told someone that was worried about that, I said, "Look, man, like if you're that worried about one of your spots, don't use it. I mean, go fish somewhere else." Like, and that's a big part of fishing, right? I mean, yeah, we've all got secret spots. I've got spots that I probably won't use to catch fish to enter into this contest just because I don't want Kevin knowing anywhere near the vicinity of where I fish.
I could go into the trout club, no problem, tomorrow and catch probably 25-inch brown trout. It's going to be right in there. This is to deter that. It's going to make it virtually impossible. So complain about the technology, but it has a good side of it too. I mean, there's not going to be cheating. This is going to be state water only. That's it.
Yeah. So, and like Joe said, if we come up with if someone donates some crazy prize that they just want us to raffle off for contestants in the contest, which did happen last year for Eddie's contest, I believe, right? And it happens.
Yeah, it does.
With a lot of the stuff we do. I mean, look, we did with the gambler trip. Palmaris Rods just gave you like a $300-$400 rod to give
I was
away
just
on the
looking
trip.
at that actually. Yeah, really nice rod. We got to figure out how we're going to give that away. I might put
Well,
it
we'll
up.
worry about that when it comes. But for this contest, I'm just saying.
There's weird rumors that I got feedback from people. I want to just make sure that because I don't know who's spreading this shit. Somebody told me that they heard there's a gear limitation. There's no gear limitations. You could use 3 rods from shore and unlimited rods from a boat. That's state law. They're whoever made up that rule is full of shit.
The fishing rules, they're just fucking with you, Joe. The
No, they're
rules
not.
of the contest, yes, they are. There's no way
No, I'm
anyone's that
serious.
stupid.
Ask Kevin.
Okay. The rules of the contest are simple. They're the same fishing rules of the state.
I think honestly, what happened was they saw that conversation between me and Kyle Thomas, because in the RVTA bass contest, you're only allowed to use one pole.
Well, that's a bass contest. This is not a bass contest.
I think they confuse that with this, and then they start, this you can only use one pole, but no, that's not the case.
Bass guys get confused very easily.
Who is tonight's guest, Chris?
So tonight's guest is pretty cool because it's just an everyday angler like us who I'm not even sure if he watched the podcast or follows the Instagram page or both. His name's Greg. He does a lot of fishing with his son. I've followed him on Instagram. I followed both of them. They have their like a shared account where they fish all over South Jersey, fresh and salt water. And Greg reached out to me and thought it'd be cool if him and his son could come on the episode. Obviously, I said, hell yeah. We actually had to move him once or twice with the crazy schedule, but we got him on tonight. I'm not sure if his son will be with him, but he actually, I mean, this is pretty cool too, I guess, as long as it works out. He asked me if he could come on while he was fishing because the bite was so good that he wanted to go fishing, but he wanted to make sure he could still do this. So I told him it should work, but I guess we'll see because we're going to bring him in live while he's fishing, I believe, for stripers on Delaware River down in South Jersey.
All right, well, that's cool. So we're going to get him in any minute, but I just want to wrap up, and I'm going to say it one last time because this is the last chance I have before Mayhem begins in the multi-species contest. 25 freshwater species. Everyone entered April 28th. You're in the Mike K Guide Service rod giveaway and lip glue. Worth it just in itself.
And who knows what else? And who knows what else?
And who knows what else is in this. But yeah, join. If you're on the fence, join. Give us enough participation to make us want to do it again. Basically. Other than that, yeah, I think we can. Saltwater wise, I got a report from the gambler, Chris Lido. They did their second tile trip of the year, went more north and did much better. Got away from the dogfish, got on a bunch of tile fish. If you go on Gambler's page, you could see all the pictures. So, yeah, black fishing, I've seen good reports from South Jersey, Cape Mayish, the North Jersey. The reports seem bad. A lot of boats haven't been out, though, because of the weather. Other than that, I don't have much. I think our guest is ready to come in. Deuce, you ready to bring him in? YellowDogPaddle.com, ton of new stuff up on the website. Also, news from Mike, who's been fishing Round Valley. The state just stocked 6,600 rainbow trout. April 9th, 150 broadstock trout, 15 inches and up were stocked. Mike caught a really nice golden rainbow tag, number 14, in the last tournament. And he is still currently booking trips on Round Valley. So if you want to do a trolling trip with Yellow Dog Paddle on Round Valley, now is the time to call him, especially May. He's also offering fishing lessons and still the frequent flyer pass. So call Yellow Dog Paddle today. Okay, so we have our guest, Greg Amica. Been fishing New Jersey for 45 years. Found our podcast through Instagram a while ago, has seen some episodes, and asked to come on. And just caught a double-digit snakehead within the past hour. Greg, welcome to the NJ Multi-Species podcast.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate your show and everything you do for the community of New Jersey fishermen, north and south. Thank you.
That's nice of you to say. Can we? You want to call out Joe because his math was wrong on how many years you've been fishing?
I'm 50 years old, so I started fishing in 1982. I was about 7. Just the local lakes. It was a lot.
You were close, Joe.
I was close.
The only reason I know is because I ain't 44 years old, and he started fishing 1 year before I was born, which is crazy.
Youngins. But
yeah,
back in the day, the one major thing was like nowadays you can go get fishing gear anywhere, Amazon, Dick's. There's great. I go to Sportmaster in Philadelphia a lot. There's back when I was a kid, I mean, like you couldn't find stuff easily. It was very difficult. That's one major difference back in the good old days.
You're way down South Jersey. You're way down there.
No, I'm near Philadelphia. I'm right over the bridge of Philadelphia. So.
Have you ever been inside Old School Outdoors?
No, I'm not familiar with that.
I think he might be a little. I think he might be a little north of you.
Yeah,
we don't know anything.
I'm in Haddon Township. I don't know if you heard of Haddonfield, Cherry Hill. I'm in Haddon Township, so we're in a good area to go hit a lot of. We're 45 minutes from the shore. We got the Delaware River. It's good fishing. Plus, we'll drive it. My son is a fanatic, so he's a fishing machine. But we fished up in your neck of the woods, Hapakong. We went with Mike. We caught some walleye. It was fun.
Which Mike?
Nice.
The Mike. I'm not sure how to. Mike's Guide Service. I think you know him.
Oh, Mikey K.
Yeah, yeah,
That,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
You don't know.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, Mike K.
No, he's cool.
Mike's awesome.
Yeah.
Hold on, before we go on, you made me think of something when you said back then how you couldn't just get whatever you wanted whenever you wanted, like you can today.
Yeah,
And you're kind of, you had what the local tackle shop
that's right.
carried. And let me ask you this. So nowadays, right, you go out fishing and maybe you don't fall into this trap because you've been fishing for so long,
Mhm.
but we seem to fall into this trap, right, where go fishing, another guy's catching more fish than you. You're like, oh, what lure is that? Oh, it's purple, and it has this piece of hair on it. I gotta get me one of those. And then you just accumulate these. I have an entire like just shelves and shelves in front of me of fishing gear that has either been used once or never, and probably will never be used just because I bought it because I thought it looked cool or someone told me I
Yeah.
caught a fish on it.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Yeah, definitely.
And like,
Yeah.
did you guys have any problems catching fish back then because you didn't
Well,
have 8 different types of floors?
right in the
same
early
lure?
'80s. So you got to understand the EPA was passed. I think I don't know if it was Reagan or Nixon, late '70s. So New Jersey waters. I used to fish. I still do. I caught the snakehead today in Cooper River. Um, you know, it was just polluted. The only thing we fished for back then was catfish were around, channel catfish, and then we use little spinner rooster tails to catch like perch, but there was no bass then. There was none of the stuff that we have now.
Oh,
So
no bass, even in the mid '80s, huh?
yeah, there was no largemouths there. Never that. They weren't around. I guess it was so polluted.
And
Just
and
catfish and carp.
and no
Ha-
bowfin either, and any even.
No, none of that was around that I recall. And we fished literally every day when we were kids, every single day. But none of that was around. That was just carp and catfish. And for the carp, I used to get my dad's like heavy duty gear, and I would just cast out like a big weight and just hook them and fight them. We didn't even land them.
Now,
That's that's uh
Have you seen blue catfish yet?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I was fishing the Delaware River around the Coney Bridge, and I was striper fishing. Me and my son, like about 2 weeks ago, and a guy next to us, we were striper fishing, but he was catfishing. He caught a nice channel, and then he caught a blue. So it was a decent sized blue catfish. I've seen pictures
really.
of them too around that area too, Tacony area. So they're around, at least the
Nice.
Delaware River. Yeah.
Yeah, guys are panicked, obviously, that they're gonna take over, and I'm sure they'll do their thing like the Flatheads did.
Yep.
I don't think they're gonna eliminate, eradicate any species or anything
And
like that.
they
Is what
said
they want you to believe.
they said the same thing about snakeheads. They don't do any damage whatsoever, at all. So
I've heard
we're
that exact. Everyone who lives down there and fishes for them and bass, like guys who fish for both,
Mhm.
they've said they've seen no difference in any of the places where they used to bass fish before the snakeheads were there. They've
Mhm.
seen no difference. They just now also catch snakeheads and
Yeah.
bass that are the same size.
Yeah, they
Or
don't. Yep, that's true. They don't even live in the same area where the bass are. And I've seen bass next to stripers in an area. I've caught them side by side with stripers that are like 20, 25 inches down here in a tributary. Um, and they don't do any damage to anything really. I've seen nothing. I think the bass are better nowadays. I've seen bass demolishing their fry balls. Bass hunting packs. Wise man of snakehead fishing who taught me many years ago told me a thing that always stuck with me. He said a largemouth bass evolutionary has an advantage over a snakehead at the mouth size. Snakeheads, I don't know if I think Chris, you've probably you guys caught them, right?
I haven't.
Joe has not, so
Okay.
we can rub that in whenever you feel like it.
Well, the bass, if you think about it, has a big mouth, right?
Yeah.
The snakehead has a very small mouth, so he's at a disadvantage to a bass. And I believe the bass like kind of hunt in packs on those fry balls. Snakeheads are kind of solitary. So
When you were just out fishing
yeah,
before you came on here, were you targeting snakehead specifically, or was it
yeah.
accidental?
No. We target them. It's a big fish. My son and I guess our top fish are striper and snakeheads. Are the
Is
two
it
top fish. Yep.
Is it always mainly a top water thing for the snakeheads?
Well, the best time of year, in my opinion, to catch them is April. So, April and May are good. It's easier when they're on the fry ball, but the real big ones, they're most active in April and May. I mean, today it was pretty cold and windy, and we caught a big one along with a bunch of bass topwater. But they fight harder subsurface for sure. So it's funner to catch them. I mean, sometimes I've had one pull it like a false albacore once. It was like maybe a 8-pounder just ran across the lake. So the one today, go ahead.
Any live bait fishing for them, or it's mostly all lures?
We only lures. We've never caught them on live bait. I know I've heard of people that I know have used minnows, but we've always used lures. Even like Senko worms are pretty good for them. My lure of choice is a whopper plopper, but you lose a lot. It's frustrating. Like today, I went to the Snakehead spots with my whopper plopper. 9 a.m. I hooked into this guy. It was a big one. Had him at the bank. They're smart. He ran into a rock, and they do the alligator death roll. Got off. I was like, God darn. Me and my boy went back at 2:00 and we got him. He was still there. They're lazy. They're dumb.
He was still like caught on the rock there?
No. They stay in the same area. If you let him. I know my son told me on the kayak he goes and he he'll miss one and he'll wait an hour, go back to the spot, and catch them. They don't move that much sometimes. Like especially now, I feel like they don't move when they're mating. They might move a little more, but.
What are the numbers like? Can you really have a day where you just pound on them all day, or...
No, they're difficult to catch. They're way. I mean, I'm not one of these. We're not one of these. Me and my son, we try to target the big ones, right? Like I don't go like for numbers. I'm sure if you go down to Salem with a kayak and get in the back, there's like a lot of little ones. But they're hard. Like you got to get one big one. It's frustrating. Sometimes you lose them. If we get 2 big ones in a trip, that's a good trip. But we're targeting them specifically. We're trying to get the biggest one we can. So
yeah, Joe's been wanting to catch one. I think you've tried
they're
a couple
times. They're a little overrated too. They're frustrating is all hell. Everybody seems to fish for them now.
The only time I ever went is when Madusky sent me to that spot that he said was like a golden spot, and it turned out to be a useless shithole.
Dude, that guy's living in like a time machine where he thinks that stuff that was good 20 years ago is still good, and he just...
Greg, I want to be your new snakehead friend. Can we be snakehead friends?
We can be, but they're so unpredictable. Like it's that's the thing.
That's Greg's way of saying he's not going to show you the really good spot. He's just going to show you the shitty spot. He's going to send you to the same spot Madosky sent you to.
No, Delaware River would be, you want to catch big snakeheads, Delaware River would be good.
I want to catch any snakehead. Like I'll take a 5-inch one. I don't know. I want to take any one.
The thing is, you got to start somewhere, right? So when we're probably a good, well, Joe's even farther than me. Joe's probably a good 2.5 hours at least to the closest decent snakehead spot that I know of, maybe 2 hours. And there's spots a little bit closer, but I don't know. They seem to get fished out much more, and there never seems to be anything there.
A lot of people kill them. There was a guy came down from Boston, Massachusetts, had 2 of them at the local lake where there was a good population. He had, I don't know what he did. He knifed them. He was holding them, smiling. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah, well, there's no limit on them. People are, the state's telling you people to kill them still, even though you ain't gonna stop them at this point.
I don't eat that many freshwater fish, but I mean, a lot of people I know that have fished for snakeheads, they say they're delicious, and they love
I've heard believe it or not, I've heard the complete opposite. I think the politicians say that so you kill them. Honestly,
is it a lie? It's just.
I think so. I think so. People, some of these people have yelled at me for throwing them back. One lady was like, you just envision it. She's like, "Don't put that back in there." I was like, catch your own.
I'm curious to know. Do you think the state of New Jersey has ever issued someone a ticket for releasing one back after catching?
I've always heard that if as long as you release them where you caught it, but I also know of people seeding them all over around here. So I've heard of that too. Rumors of that. People seeding them.
Yeah.
They showed up at some lakes that are like landlocked. So
Yeah, that's probably frowned upon, to say the least.
Yeah.
I won't tell the whole story again, but just Greg, so you know, a CO came up to us and asked us when we were down there fishing for him.
Mhm.
He's like, "Oh, what are you guys fishing for?" I said, "Snakeheads." He said, "Oh, did you keep any?" I said, "No, we threw them back." He didn't give a shit. He
Nah, they
didn't
don't
care.
care.
He was actually happy. He was happy. He's like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, oh, that's nice. You know, the guys down here don't have a lot of different species to fish for."
They
I'm like,
should declare it a game fish, really, in my opinion.
I doubt they'd have better control over them if they did that than whatever stupidness they're doing right now.
Has anyone? Does any state have them as a game fish?
I don't think so. They're illegal federally, right, to own or possess or whatever.
Because I know.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of states have the flat. They've accepted the flathead now. I mean, it's a game fish.
Well, no, the flathead didn't come from a different country. The flathead is native to a lot of our states.
It ain't native to Pennsylvania, though, but it's a game fish in Pennsylvania now.
Well, I think that, because their Fish and Game introduced it, so that means it's not invasive.
Have you guys caught a lot of flatheads?
We've gone a couple times and caught a few, but yeah, we don't do it.
If the hell with snakeheads, the flatheads are way cooler in my opinion.
I mean, they were cool. I think I got to catch 2 of them. I only got to go 1 time, but yeah, those were amazing fish.
They are.
The way they hit the live bait is amazing.
More destructive than a snakehead, that's for sure.
Yeah, I like all kinds of fishing. It's just my least favorite type of fishing is kind of sitting and waiting, especially from shore. So the catfishing doesn't really fit my favorite type of fishing, but I mean, you can't argue with how hard they fight.
It's really cool to look at.
Oh yeah,
they're cool to see.
So one thing, so you guys are a little younger. One thing I was thinking of telling you was back in the day, my era of saltwater, because we do, we don't just specifically fish for snakeheads, but the saltwater, now I see these things people are saying like a weak fish is a unicorn. Back in the 80s, man, there was no stripers then, man. It was just weak fish. That's what we went for, right? And they were like tide runners, 25, 26-inch ones. They were awesome. Now, of course, it's, I don't know I guess the stripers ate them. What's your opinion on that, guys? The weak fish.
I remember going on to the Atlantic Islands, and you would actually get on a party boat that was going out for weak fish.
Right.
You would never even imagine that would exist today. But yeah, I used to go on the boats that just targeted weak fish, and they were such beautiful, amazing fish to hold, and they were good eating. It's a sad fish to lose, just like the winter flounder, same situation.
Yeah.
But they're around. I mean, they could always come back. They are around.
I've heard the argument. It's hard to argue against it. I mean, I don't have the biological evidence to back it up or argue against it, but I've heard plenty of times that when the stripers, like you said, when the stripers boomed, the other fish, went off the kind of less and less. And I mean, it's hard to argue it. Who knows? But I mean, it makes sense. The ecosystem can only support so much, right? So if there's a lot more stripers coming through, spawning here, hanging around here, then is that going to mean there's less weak fish doing the same thing, less winter flounder doing the same thing? I'm sure water temperature probably has something to do with it as well. But yeah, I don't know. And it's pretty cool to think back, for you to tell us that story, right? And we've heard that story and other stories like that with the whiting, right? It used to be party boats to go out for. I've never even seen one in my life, and I've fished tons, right? And you start thinking about it, like in 15, 20 years, are we going to be telling our kids or grandkids or whatever, like, hey, we used to always catch all these stripers, and they don't even know what a striper is because something else
Sea
took over and
robins.
lives here now. The cobia.
Sea
Oh,
robin.
all we have is
Yeah, the
cobia
cobia.
everywhere. We don't have any stripers anymore. The cobia.
I'll tell you, you don't even see a lot of sea robins or oyster crab. I remember going on those week fish trips with my uncle, my father, and that's all. I mean, you would just catch so many of those sea robins and oyster crackers and all that. You know, those junk fish. I don't even see them much anymore. I mean,
They keep them. They're keeping them
they're
because
keeping them.
they can't catch a keeper fluke, so they just fill the cooler with sea robins. Then we saw Bergals. They call them choggers, and now they're doing like chogging. It's a chogging charter.
I haven't seen that here. I've
Not
seen them.
in New Jersey. It's in existence now. It will be here. Like you're gonna see Bergal trips. Like people just eat anything. I guess it's just the way it's going.
Eat anything. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. But Greg, I gotta. I know originally, you and your son. 'Cause I followed you guys. You and your son
Yeah.
basically share a fishing
Yeah,
Instagram, right? You guys fish all
Mhm.
over the place down in
Yep,
South
yep,
Jersey, freshwater, saltwater. Um, I followed you guys for a while. I
Yeah.
remember seeing your pictures for a while now, and I think originally you were both going to come on, which I thought was pretty cool because I didn't grow up fishing.
Yeah.
Nobody in my family fished. My dad didn't fish. Nobody fished. Like I had to teach myself as a 20-year-old how to fish, and so I love talking to guys that their sons or daughters love fishing
Right.
and they get to do it together and they get to learn when they're kids.
Mhm.
But then he didn't want to come on here and talk with a
He's
bunch of old guys.
yeah, he's at that age, but you know, I learned from him. I mean, it's like this is his sport, really. Like, I mean, one of the proudest things that I've done, you know, I dropped him off in his kayak by himself. You know, he texts me, I'm at work. You know, he'll send me a video or call me, and he's holding a snakehead or a bass or a striper or something like that. I mean, that's just like hitting a home run. You know, if your boy would hit a home run or score a touchdown, it's, you know, it's not easy
Yeah.
to do. He does it. You know, I've learned so much from him because he spent way more time than I have, you know, doing it. And a lot of times I challenge, I say, nah, let's do this or that. But, you know, he'll want to use some strategy. And a lot of times it usually, his knowledge is pretty good with fishing since he's been doing it since he's like maybe, I guess he caught a bluegill when he was 5 or 6, and it's been nonstop. So it's pretty
That's
cool.
awesome.
So
You think it? So is it like? See, I have this. I just had my firstborn.
yeah.
Not even 4 months, and I'm like terrified that when he's able to fish, he just won't like it.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, I never pushed it on my son. I mean, I did
Don't push
fishing.
it.
Yeah, you can't push whatever they get into, they get into. Like you know, I know people that push stuff on them, but like, I mean, my thing, I was in a band and like I play heavy metal guitar. That's my number one. And I mean, I always fished like, you know, when I was younger and in my teens and early 20s, but you know, really, he got me back into it, you know. So
Oh, okay.
but yeah, you know, I never push him one way or the other. I mean, I get frustrated because like I want to go for stripers, and then he'll want to do something ridiculous. He gets in and he'll be like, "Oh, let's go fishing for trout," and it's like, you know. So I just go along with what he wants.
It's awesome though. I was
There,
the other day. I was when I was they were driving home from the trout river, and I was just like listening to them talk in the back seat, and they were just talking about like they were talking about like catching a striper with Jerry Zagorski's grandson, and I was just listening in on like their plan they were making of like catching this striper. Just just listening to the kids talk about fishing is unbelievable in itself. But I do agree with you if you force it on them. I notice with my kids, the less you ask them to go fishing, the more they ask you to take them. It's almost like they just do the opposite of what you want them to do. So,
Yeah, it's crazy. Where I'm sitting, I have like I don't know, 7 or 8 guitars sitting here, amplifiers. He won't ever. He was never into music. He never wanted to look at them, and I never did it. You know, I never forced it on him, and he likes fishing, but which is cool because we have that in common. But so you never know what they'll be into.
so that's going to be my problem though. Like I don't do anything other than fish anymore. Like I only fish. If he
your
doesn't like
son,
fishing, we're not going to have anything in common.
your son is going to be a professional bass angler, and he's going to win the Bassmaster Classic one day.
That's
That's
fine with me. I mean,
that's his destiny.
I mean, when he's
Yeah,
old
it's
enough, you can make fun of him for doing stuff, right? I mean,
so stupid. Greg, I want to thank you so much
Thank you
for
so
taking
much.
the time for coming on the NJ Multi-Species podcast and talking with us. Um, you're a great example to anyone else who wants to come on the show, that it's
Thank
open
you.
to anyone, and we appreciate being a part of the fishing community with you, and thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, guys. Take care.
all right, later, Greg.
See you later.
8-Ball Sport Fishing Charters out of Point Pleasant is offering extreme flexibility at an unbelievable price for your next 6-pack charter. Right now, Dom is targeting stripers on mini rods, and they are having a blast. He also does after work striper trips, tons of flexibility and availability. Also, shark fishing trips, and the price really is unbelievable on this charter. Comes highly recommended. Call 8-Ball Sport Fishing Charters today. All right, so that was pretty cool to have just someone come on from the fishing community. Doesn't fish for a living or a profession, just fishes like we do. Die-hard guy. And now he's passing it on to his son, and that's awesome. That's what we need. So pretty cool.
I
And
just,
like you always say, I always make fun of you because you always say anyone's welcome to come on who wants, and that was pretty cool actually to just talk to someone who wanted to come on.
yeah, I mean, he actually wanted to talk about fishing. I mean, sometimes guys come on here and I think they get a little shy, like as if they're on TV or something, and
Yeah.
they don't have a lot of words to give back to us, but that's cool
No,
too. I mean, like I said, anyone could come on, and it's one of the coolest parts of this whole thing is that we get to meet all kinds of people, and I'll just be honest.
it's so crazy how like in this little state, how every little like crevice produces like a person that's up to a entirely different thing. Like there's just so many different anglers in this one small state. It's crazy to me.
Oh, dude, and it goes back to what we say all the time about how like this area, New Jersey or just say tri-state area, whatever you want to call it, within driving distance of us, I'll fight it to the end. I'll argue it. I'll die on the hill. It's one of the most, you know, varied places to
Versatile.
fish.
Versatile.
Yeah, it is just there's so much variety here, freshwater, and the saltwater. I guess the variety's pretty good saltwater too.
Oh
But I
yeah.
mean, the quality is there. You might not, you're not catching world record freshwater fish here, but some saltwater. I mean, you're catching, world class saltwater fishery. I mean, it's crazy, dude. And you'd never think it. And if you're not from here, you think we're crazy just making this shit up.
No. You'd be surprised even when it comes to hunting how many out of state people from the tri-state area buy a Jersey hunting license just to hunt.
You know what
'Cause
you
there's
forgot? You know what you forgot to ask, Greg? You were going to ask him about the sheep's head.
Yeah, Greg told me before he came because I want to go sheep's head fishing for my birthday with Scotty Sevens. That's what I told my wife I want for my 40th birthday. And I think he sold out anyway, so he's probably too busy. But Greg was like, "Yeah, sheep's head suck. They're the most overrated fish ever." And I'm like,
He didn't
"Okay,
say they sucked.
hold that thought. We're going to talk about it on the podcast," and we totally forgot it. So we're going to have to find out why Greg doesn't like sheep's head for sure.
Oh, we'll just post this clip and he'll respond on the Instagram, I'm sure.
Yeah, he'll respond to why he doesn't like sheep's head. Okay, a couple reminders before we go because we got to go. But
And I gotta do the lip glue.
yeah, we're going to talk about lip glue. Okay, let's talk about lip glue real quick first.
I have to shout out lip glue because, and I'm one of those guys who will, if you and I are fishing, and you know this, you could back me up. If you and I are fishing, I'm fishing with anyone. I'm throwing one thing, I'm using one tactic, they're doing something else. They catch a fish before me. Okay, that's cool. What do you got there? All right, yeah, cool. I take notice of it. I keep doing what I'm doing. They catch another fish. And I'm like, okay, if he catches one more, I'm going to change my tactic. right? When it comes to the scent, I'm the same way. Someone puts on scent, I'm like, we've fished with Jen Wong. He loves the lip glue. And you're just kind of like, yeah, whatever. I'll put it on later. Yeah, put it. And then when he catches like 3 or 4 fish right in your face, you're kind of like, can I borrow some of that, please? So the last couple of trips, so on the striper trip with Chuck Manny, he forgot his lip glue. I happened to bring some with me, but I wasn't using it. Like, because I just started fishing. It's not because I was like, oh, I don't think it'll work. I'm not going to use it. It's just, it's in my bag. I'm fishing. We're fishing for stripers. They're usually pretty aggressive, whatever. Nobody was catching anything to start, right? Remember? And he asked me, oh, I forgot my lip glue. I'm like, oh, there's some in the bag. A couple minutes later, Jen Wong catches the first striper. Then Jen Wong catches the second, the third, and the fourth striper, I believe, right?
Even more. This video is available on YouTube. Like, you could see this happen.
And you got it all in there?
It's all in there. Like, he decimated us for the first, 7 to 8 fish. Caesar had one on his plug on the C80, but it came off at the rail. But Jen had.
It counts.
Yeah, he got it. I put the video of Caesar's fish there. You'll see it come off the plug. But yeah, he's somewhere from 6 to 8 fish on the deck before anyone else. And even I was like, are you kidding me? I was cursing to myself. Like, what? Even Chuck's standing there laughing because every time Jen hooks one, Chuck's laughing even more. Like, I'm saying, what is going on here? This is ridiculous.
So I finally asked him, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, did you get the lip glue from my bag? He's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, you son of a bitch. I'm like, give me some of that shit. Within 3 or 4 casts, I had my first hit. My reel broke and exploded, so I didn't land the fish. But I then proceeded to start putting lip glue on my lures while I was fishing, and I started joining in. And then Caesar did the same thing, and it was like undeniable.
I'm going to tell you why I don't like lip glue. I try to avoid using lip glue at all costs. It doesn't come off the lure. It makes my hands slimy as hell.
Don't touch it.
And then when it goes in my tackle box, it gets on my other lures. But now I'm realizing that works to a benefit.
Well, yeah, and now your other lures will be better too.
I'm continuously getting outfished by it. Even now with that freaking gigantic trout that Jen just caught, I was there doing the same thing he was doing with the same lure, and he had this lip glue. I didn't put it on again, being stubborn. He catches almost 9-pound rainbow trout and then a 15-inch brook trout. I get skunked. And yeah, he continuously keeps embarrassing me with lip glue. So lip glue has become a new standard thing now that, whether it works or not, you just have to put it on now. But at this point, I'm pretty sure it does work.
There's been too many coincidences to say that. I'm not going to look, I'm not going to claim that. And Steve said the same, I'm not going to claim that it's magical and attracts fish from long distances and
I could say this for sure, because you know how when we do troll some certain lakes, we hold the fishing rod in our hand while we're trolling.
Yeah.
I have felt the lure when it has lip glue on it. It gets smashed harder than it does without it. That I can say. It gets hit harder.
I've seen too many coincidences to not say that 100%. Sometimes it makes a huge difference in that last second. For a fish following your lure, you have no idea. Go online and look up fishing videos, the guys that use the cameras dragging the lures around. You will not believe the amount. If you've never looked, you will not believe the amount of times fish follow your lure for ungodly amounts of time and never hit it. And if you don't have a camera out there, which almost nobody obviously does when they're fishing, unless they're doing something special, or you don't have that live scope view of the back like they use for trolling up in Lake Ontario and stuff, you'll never know that these fish were there, right? I mean, but they are. And if putting a little bit of scent on your lure is going to close the deal, I mean, it's 100% not hurting you. Like, there's no drawback to it other than it getting on your fingers and smelling like shit. But I'm starting to like the smell of it, honestly. I'm going to start using it as chapstick.
And another thing to take into account is everyone says, and everyone pretty much knows, that the fishing world was revolutionized by gulp. And gulp is really just a piece of shit rubber that anyone could make, but the secret is in that juice, which is scent. So gulp is really testament that it really does work. Obviously, gulp, you have to buy gulp, but lip glue, you're able to apply it to any lure, especially hard baits.
I know Jen Wong uses it in combo, I'm pretty sure, the gulp and the lip glue on his fluke rigs.
He does do that. I've seen him do that, but he had like the giant trout. He was even using like a Berkeley power sanded worm, but had lip glue on it. It's really versatile shit.
And dude, just to finish my story, I then a couple days later, right, just the other week, I went out with Dwayne walleye fishing, and we didn't catch anything for the first part of the night. I mean, it was a slow night, and we're like, we're working stick baits, plugs, jerk baits, whatever, real slow. And I'm like, oh, let me put some lip glue on this. I'm like, it ain't going to hurt. Same thing I always say. Oh, let me put some lip glue on this. It ain't going to hurt. Very shortly after I started doing that, caught my first one of the night. It was a small one. Dwayne's like, oh, you just put the lip? Yeah, I just put the lip. All right. Because keep fishing. Catch another one, a regular size one, a keeper size one. Not that you can keep them, but that size fish, like, 19, 20-inch fish. He's like, lip glue? I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm not going to stop putting it on now. So, again, it was a slow night. I ended up with one more real nice walleye towards the end with the lip glue. And I don't know why. I mean, he could have taken it out of my bag and used it. I didn't exactly offer it to him because the bottle's running a little bit low, but he could have.
He's a thief.
Oh, he didn't. He could have.
I wouldn't give him shit.
Well, I wouldn't have said anything if he went to go use it, but I mean, yeah. Bottom line, lip glue seemed to make a difference.
Lip glue would be the stuff that if you were like 2 years ago, you showed it to me and told me what it was, I would just say, all right, whatever, get away from me. Now I could tell you this shit really works. I don't even know why we're doing like a 15-minute commercial on it. It really does work, and we really do use it.
Because I'm amazed about it again because of the two last trips. It a very
you almost want it to fail, right? You're rooting for it to fail, and it keeps defying it. Like that's what's going on.
And that's what I do. That's what I used to do with the gulp too. I'm like, I don't want to buy this expensive shit anymore. And lip glue ain't even expensive, so it's not. I mean, there's lip glue in all my bags. And Steve, everyone's stealing my goddamn lip glue. Send me more because I'm like fucking charity. I just give lip glue to people.
If you're watching this, or Chris, you make a clip, we need more lip glue, especially the stink. That's my favorite one, please.
And the shad. And the shad flavor.
The shad's good too. I like the stink. The stink is like branded as a saltwater one, but I secretly just use it in both.
And dude, the crawfish one for blackfish jig. I mean, our trip got canceled. I haven't gotten to go yet. And
when we were ice fishing, he dropped me off a bottle of that. He's like, oh, I got something for you, and he gave me a bottle of crawfish. I haven't got to use it yet, though.
Dude, I'm telling you, put it on the blackfish jigs. It makes a difference.
Never going blackfishing. Last hope is the fishmonger.
We only got one more spring trip booked?
I think and I think it's on the last day of the season, so I think we're closing it out.
It is
on the fishmonger.
Do we try to get on a party boat or something? I wanted to get a couple of spring tog trips in, and then we only ended up.
The gamblers running the lazy man tog trips. They're from 10 in the morning to 2 or 3 p.m. So you don't have to get up early.
I might have to do that, dude, because I don't think I mentioned this last time either. Eddie at Toggy Time Jigs, I found out not that long ago that he actually builds tog jig rods, like
Yeah, you
specific tog jig rods.
You said this whole story already.
Yeah, I got one for him. Like, I already have it, dude. Like, I'm holding it, like twitching, wanting to use it. Like, I have to use it, and I can't get out.
Jerry Z's dying to get the obsession out. Blackfishing. He's dying to go.
I mean, let's go,
Jerry
dude.
I Ken Lazarchuk. He
his shoulder's not ready yet.
He has spot lock now, which is cool. But yeah, Jerry's dying to go.
I gotta use this.
We're going Tuesday on Fishmonger. Fishmonger next Tuesday.
I'm looking forward to it.
Who's the guest next week?
So next week we got a non-New Jersey guest. I'm not even gonna try to say her last name. Maybe you can say
Alyssa Ray Pisak. That's how I say it, or Alyssa Ray Pisak.
Okay, you're just gonna go. Yeah, I have no idea how to pronounce
like
it, so I was gonna spare her the butchering of her last name. But
she's like from South United States, somewhere, Louisiana, somewhere.
You have no idea.
No idea, but she's just insane. Catches all kinds of like crazy paddlefish, insane flathead catfish. I think she noodles sometimes.
Yeah.
Just all that insane southern stuff. So we're gonna take the episode out of New Jersey for the next one. That should be cool. Mayhem, if you're not signed up, this is your last chance. April 28th, the raffle will go off for the rod and reel combo and the lip glue. For everyone entered, and like I said, at 12 a.m. on May 1st, once Mayhem starts, it is locked until the next one. So if you want to get in, you're on the fence, you got to get in. Last call.
Is that it? Are you ending the episode?
I'm done.
Did Kevin do suffer for the fish last time?
I think he did, but I think I cut it off on accident.
Wow. All right. Well, suffer for the fish. Suffer for the fish. Suffer for the fish. There.